Hi, and welcome along to a game of two halves here on DR Sports. We've got my main man, Mark Goldbridge, in the building. A smiling Mark Goldbridge, noting that he's even got headphones in. It must have been all the shouting that he was doing yesterday when Manchester United pulled off a great win at Anfield against Liverpool. We're going to get stuck into that. For me, a perfect weekend as an Arsenal fan. You get your game on the Saturday, 5:30. Win that game, and then you just kick back and relax on a Sunday with a beer in your hand. First up, you see Tottenham lose, your biggest rivals, to Aston Villa, and then followed up by the hors d'oeuvres, right, of Manchester United against all odds going to Anfield, or was it against all odds, going to Anfield and beating them by 2-1. 4 defeats in a row now for Liverpool, 3 defeats in the Premier League in a row. Chelsea, Manchester United, and also Palace. Unheard of in recent times for Liverpool, especially losing at Anfield, and especially losing at Anfield to Manchester United. Mark, talk to us about the game, because I know you was heavily invested, doing your watch along. You must have been really buzzing yesterday.
Yeah, it's a game of two happy people this morning, isn't it? Because it's, I would rather Arsenal win the league over Liverpool and Man City every day of the week. So, but obviously it's about Manchester United. This is a United side and manager that is under huge scrutiny. I think if he'd lost that game to Liverpool, we'd probably be having conversations about his tenure as manager, which is a bit unfair because it's such a big game, Liverpool. But I think we both predicted Liverpool wins, but on Friday, but I think we both said, I didn't expect it to be like 4-0 or 5-0 to Liverpool. I thought it would be close. And I thought because it was at Anfield, Liverpool would win it. And I think in the context of the game, it doesn't help Liverpool fans at all, but that could have been 2-1 to Liverpool. It could have been a draw, and it was 2-1 to Man United. And no one can complain about that because Liverpool get back in the game and then we go and win it. And Liverpool are vulnerable at the back, and we showed that you can score more than one goal against Liverpool. And that's a problem if you're trying to win a title. You look at what Arsenal do, even Man City. So Liverpool's big problem is their defence. They do create chances. They missed chances yesterday. But I never really felt like over the recent years, we've been to Anfield and you're really under pressure. And I never really felt like we were that much under pressure. Despite the chances, I felt we were in the game. And I think that's the change with Liverpool this season. You feel like you're in the game as the opposition, and they don't put you away. And I thought Man United yesterday, I wasn't happy with Amorim's team selections, and most of our fan base wasn't. And I mean, I don't want anyone to be a hypocrite. They weren't happy with it. And I would argue that in the future, I don't think Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Casemiro, Dalot at left wing back really is going to be the plan. And Amorim has fallen into this category of getting results. But he deserves huge praise because despite doing something most of us didn't want him to do, it did work. And I now want to see us go and beat Brighton and bring the likes of Lenny Yoro back in and Dorgu back in and Sesko back in and start to build what Arteta's built at Arsenal, a bit more of a vision. But to go to Liverpool and get a result, it's an amazing result for Manchester United. And we've got a real opportunity again to go and build on it. But where it leaves Liverpool is, I personally think, Robbie, that, you won't want to hear this, but it's hard to see them in a title race at the moment. I think Man City are probably the closest contender to Arsenal from what I've seen. They're the best team I've seen play Man United anyway. And Liverpool just look like they're not going to click. I keep waiting for them to click, and they look like they're not going to click. Mo Salah's miles off it. Van Dijk's off it. The new players are taking time to settle in. And anybody who plays Liverpool, I don't know who they've got next, you'll get a chance.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I don't think they're out of the title race. I think they've still got definitely a shout with the firepower that they got, and I think those players are going to get better. They did miss a lot of chances. That one that Gakpo missed at the end, I mean, God, my days. But so did United. That chance that Bruno missed, that would have made it 2-0. And then that would have been literally out of sight. And I thought the United were excellent. We got to praise Amorim. I've come on here a lot of times and have been, tearing into him for his formation, team selection. He got it spot on. Maguire had a great game, scored the winner, of course, but was, defended well. I thought Cunha up front and then Buemo, they caused all ends of problems to that Liverpool defence. And like you said, Liverpool's defence are vulnerable at the moment. A lot of teams sense it. From the very first game of the season when they played Bournemouth, you were like, hold on, what's going on? Right? But you're thinking, all right, it's early. But Liverpool seem to have problems at the moment. You're not always going to just outscore everybody. It was a tactic that they tried to go for later on, didn't they? They threw on literally every attacker that they had, but it didn't quite work. And like you said, Mo Salah is so off. I mean, when have you ever heard Liverpool searching for a win and they take Mo Salah off? I think that just sums up how badly he is off form at the moment. But for Manchester United, is this a turning point, do you think? I mean, it's a huge win for Amorim. It's a statement win. Is this a turning point for him?
I think we're all waiting for Brighton, and we're all trying to get the players to think we're playing a top 4 team, because if we're playing a top 4 team next week, I think we're fine. This is classic United. I think we will. You know, it's too early to say I think we're going to beat Brighton, but we have to. You have to start turning the corner, and it's a home game against Brighton, and then away to Forest, and then away to Spurs. So I think, like, if we can win 2 of the next 3, we're going to be right where we want to be going into the next international break, and hopefully confidence and momentum starts to build. If you can't take confidence from going to Anfield and winning, then we may as well pack up and go home. And I think that has, especially the way we won it, from going 1-1, you'd think Liverpool are going to go and lay siege to our goal, and then we go and win it. You have to take something from that. So hopefully it will be the start of something. But I want to ask you, Robbie, in fairness, because I did say after the game, I completely agree. We've all been victim of bad refereeing decisions. You know, that's not our problem as United fans. We've won it 2-1. I don't understand what Michael Oliver was doing on that head injury. He should have stopped. He should have stopped the game. And I feel Liverpool fans are right to moan about it, because I know we've both moaned about the PGMOL, but everybody's getting these decisions, and we played to the whistle and we scored. But I'm not going to sit here and say to stop the game, because I think he probably should have done, to be fair.
The only thing I'd say with that one is, did he see it? Like, it's happened quickly. They've gone up, they've come together. The player's gone down, right? It's like 3 players involved in it, aren't it? I've literally Van Dijk, who took out his own player, right? I think that's the thing on this one. Did he actually see, like, he's seen the clash, right? Like, and it's not obvious at that time. It's not like heads clashing each other. I think it's Van Dijk's elbow gets him. Then play continues on really quickly. If he sees it, yes, he has to stop it. If he's aware of it, yes, he has to stop it. But if he hasn't seen it, it's not one of these that you can go back and say, right, VAR, look at it, and stuff like, you should have stopped play. It's like a protocol thing that you'd normally stop play if someone gets a head injury. But my only thing I would say is, did he actually see it? I've not actually sort of watched back to analyze how much of it he saw. Did he see the player on the ground? Because it all moved very quickly. Even in watching the game on TV, it wasn't kind of until after the goal scored now that everybody's, we're kind of looking back on that. You know what I mean? It happened very quickly. So that'd be the one thing I'd say.
As a United fan, I saw it straight away. And you know what you're like when you score a goal, you're always looking for a reason. And I was like, there's a man gone down and he's clutching his head. And I was like, I think the referee's got to see that. I think that's your job. But
I'll give you another thing, Mark, right, as well, right? In our game, right, a Fulham player went down holding his head.
I saw it, yeah.
After we're through on goal, right? And the referee stopped it, right? He hadn't been touched on his head.
His face, wasn't it, yeah?
He hadn't been touched. And this is the other thing is, right, which is for referees now, some of these players are faking head injuries, which is disgraceful, because they brought in this for a specific and a very, very good reason, that when players get a head injury, obviously you want to deal with that straight away, because, excuse me, it can be very, very dangerous for that player. But when you've got players like that Fulham player went down, he had not been hitting his head, and we see this happen a lot. Now all of a sudden referees are like, was that his head? Was that, you know what I mean? So that would be the other thing I'd say for the referee.
I think he's seen him go down, and he's seen that Van Dijk's done it to him and thought, oh, I'm not going to let that go. I'm going to let that go. But he's probably just messed up in his head what the protocol is, which is what you say. It's like a serious head injury however it happens, you have to stop the game. And I think he's seen Van Dijk cause it and go, oh, I'm going to play on and give Man United the advantage, which is not what the rule is. And in the heat of the moment, that's what I think he's done.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's 2-1 to you.
2-1 to United, yeah.
You're not going to
play on, as it says on the Liverpool shirt, play on.
He did say play on. Tottenham played earlier before you guys, went 1-0 up. I mean, they really got a problem with their form at home because they seem to be doing all right away from home. But at home, this is 2 defeats now at home for them. They were 1-0 up. But Villa, I thought Villa in that second half were brilliant. I don't know if you saw, well, the 2 goals. The first one by Morgan Rogers was a great goal. But that second goal they scored, anybody who ain't seen it, go and watch that goal again. The pass by Matty Cash, the control by, was it Digne, I think it was, right? And then he plays it into Buendia, who curls that goal was unreal, I'm telling you. And they deserved to win the game in the end. And Spurs, again, they're getting back to the Spursy ways, even under Thomas Frank.
I'm surprised, really, because when you look at the weekend, there's been a few away wins, which you don't normally get after an international break because you lose your rhythm. So the advantage is to be at home. Obviously, we spoke about United and then Villa going to Spurs, which I didn't have that down at all. And Villa had a horrific start to the season. Spurs had a really good start to the season. But again, it's Spurs at home. I think they lost to Bournemouth there as well.
Yep.
I'm not saying that Villa and Bournemouth aren't good teams. It's not like they're losing to Burnley, but it's still a little bit of a concern for Spurs because I did watch the game, and even at 1-0 to Spurs, I felt that Villa's press was really causing Spurs problems, and it seemed to me like Spurs were counter-attacking at home a lot. So Emery and Villa did a good job on Spurs, and I think the right team won the game at the end of the day. So yeah, it's very competitive. I mean, it's a good result for United as well, that is, because it sort of brings everybody back together again. And yeah, good result for Villa, and you just wonder if they've turned the corner now, and if they have, we all know they're a good side.
I think they have turned the corner, and that was a very, very good victory for them. Like you said, straight after an international break. Of course, Arsenal also after international break had to go away to Fulham. Now, the context of this is last year against Fulham away, draw, previous season, loss. Not a happy hunting ground in the past couple of seasons for Arsenal, but they went there and they got a deserved 1-0 win. I was even chatting to Sander Berg after the game, one of Fulham's players. He came over when we was filming, and he said, listen, he goes, Arsenal, very good side, man. He goes, it's going to take some stopping. And again, another set piece for Arsenal. Although they did, they dominated the game away from home, but yet again, another set piece by Arsenal gets them the win. I don't care whether it's a set piece or open goal play. You know what I mean? You got a set piece yesterday. That's what's won it for you. They're very important parts of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we're here to talk about football in general. I do agree with, everyone's entitled. I've said it for years. I don't like the way Pep plays football. I find it really boring. And, football has gone very percentage-based. You look at the kickoff we had at Anfield, it's like a rugby game where you're just kicking a kickoff to the corner and everyone's on that side of the pitch. We had a throw-in in the second half, and Deleu's right wing-back, he comes over to the left wing to chuck it long in the box. And I think, fans have got a right to say, what's going on? It's a bit, are other teams doing this in Europe? Are Real Madrid doing it? Bayern Munich doing it? But what we're talking about here is an Arsenal side that gets so much criticism from the press and from, other fans for being bottlers. And then they go to Fulham and they do what I've seen United do years and years and years, what Arsenal used to do under George Graham, what many teams that win the league do after an international break, a difficult ground, and Fulham are a good side. You go there and you grind out a 1-0 win. And I get rival fans moaning, I get the media moaning, but when you see certain Arsenal fans moaning about it, you sort of go, mate, you haven't won a title in 20 years. You've never won a Champions League. So, what is it you're moaning about? That to me is the quintessential, like you say, perfect weekend. Arsenal will have better days, but you come away with 3 points and you won't play brilliant for 38 games. And they never looked like they were going to concede. And they always looked like they had more gears if they needed to. And you know what? They're very good at corners. If teams don't know by now, then they should be dealing with it.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't even think it was a grind out. I thought that we dominated the game. But that defense is very, very good at Arsenal. Arsenal didn't even have a shot, didn't concede a shot on target in the whole game. If you go away from home and a team has not had a shot on target and barely any shots on your goal and you win, that's a great away performance. And like Mikel Arteta said, and he goes, we win loads of corners, right? So, if you're the team on the attack a lot and you win a lot of corners, you've got to do something with it. So, very, very good win for Arsenal. Obviously, keeping them top of the table and extending their lead by 4 points after Liverpool's loss. Sorry, 3 points, because Manchester City won again. They're creeping up. Everybody was sort of writing them off at the start of the season. But it's that man Haaland again. 2 more goals against Everton. He is the difference maker for Manchester City at the moment. They're right back in it, aren't they, Mark?
I think if Arsenal can win their next 3, and I think it's Palace, Brentford, Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, they can win those next 3. There's a big game coming up in about 3 games' time, Man City, Liverpool. Arsenal could be in a really good position if they keep getting those results, because I'm looking at it now. We've played all of the top 4, United. And granted, Arsenal was at home, but we've been to Anfield, we've been to the Etihad. And Man City are the best team we've played. Arsenal, obviously, was opening game of the season. I think Arsenal are a better team than Man City. But what my point is that Man City have probably surprised me a little bit that they could be title contenders and look like they're going to be the team that push Arsenal. They're getting results in the Premier League, and the Premier League is a very competitive place. They have got Haaland. I think I worry if anything happens to him, but at the moment they look really good. And if they keep picking up the results, and they have got a lot of experienced components in there, like your Peps and your Haalands and your Rodris and your Diaz and your Stones. So look, if you're Man City at the moment, your only worry about the international break is if they finally solve this bloody FFP case, because they're looking good. They're looking good on the pitch. And my only thing would be what happens if anything happens to Haaland, but they do look good at the moment. You've got to give him credit.
No, he's looking unstoppable at the moment. The big story of the weekend, though, for me, apart from, obviously the Man United victory at Liverpool, was what happened at Nottingham Forest.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's 0-0 at half-time, and Forest have played really well in that first half. But then second half starts, 2 quick-fire goals by Chelsea. They then go on to win the game 3-0. But even before that third went in, Marinakis, we all know, as described one time by my good friend Expressions as the Greek Shug Knight. Right, that's like how he runs that club. Gets up after 2-0 and storms out. Right now, apparently they reckon he's waiting in the tunnel. Right, as soon as the game is finished, he sacks Ange Postecoglou on the spot. I mean, have you ever seen anything like this? 39 games in charge, sacked on the spot. I mean, he was on the pitch slagging off Nuno at the end of last season. Who wants that job? I mean, listen, people will take that job. It's not in the Forest in the Premier League. You've got good players. But 2 questions for you, Mark. Is Marinakis just like too crazy to be an owner of this club? And also, right, was it just a bad decision to appoint, Ange Postecoglou in the first place?
I think, like, a lot of people say, oh, he never should have sacked Nuno. But in fairness, like, we don't know what's gone on there. And if they fell out, you do have to make a change. You can't have someone, you can't run a business with somebody that you don't get on with and there's an issue with. So, all right, getting rid of Nuno was strange, but maybe it had to happen. But to go from to go to Ange just made no sense. Like, there are so many I think they should have pushed everything for Mourinho. He was available and he plays that brand of football. So I think Ange Postecoglou, in fairness, we saw it with Potter at West Ham and with Amorim at Man United. When you bring a manager in season now, it's getting harder and harder without a pre-season and without transfers. And that was a complete 180 on the way that Forest play. So I think that Ange coming in was never going to work. And I think everybody could see that. Even Forest fans were fuming about it. So, yeah, that was terrible. But as far as Marinakis goes as the owner, he has done a lot of good there. I mean, he's pumped a lot of money in that, that he's got them into the, a top 4 race last year. So it's easy to be, we know what the world's like. People are very negative when and forget the good things. The problem is you've had it at Arsenal. We've got it at Man United. These people have a lot of money, but they don't necessarily know football. And when they think they do, that becomes even worse. I think an owner should surround themselves with people who know football. And, it's great they put money in, but when you've got a guy who's the owner and he's running it like that, you've got a dictatorship, haven't you? You've got one guy who's running a football club, and there's thousands and hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of fans who are victim to that personality. Ange Postecoglou shouldn't have been sacked like that. Nobody deserves that. That's not professional. That's not the way of doing it, especially when you've brought this guy in. I'd be worried about his volatile nature, because they're going to go for Sean Dyche next, and he's not a manager that will take that sort of disrespect. So you just worry about who the next guy's going to be and how that's going to go, because it just seems very, like I say, volatile at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's very volatile, but great win for Chelsea. Running through some of the other results, great win for Brighton, beating Newcastle by 2-1. Danny Welbeck again. I called it on Friday. Good goal by Volta Mada. He's looking a lot better than Isak at the moment. With Isak,
I wonder whether Eddie Howe's under a bit of pressure, Robbie.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, indifferent start, but not yet, I would thought. That's not an easy game straight after an international break, but he's going to have to win the next one. Burnley, big win for them. Those playing Leeds, the two teams that came up into the Premier League. Burnley winning that 2-0. A couple of great goals in that game. And the game, Sunderland beating Wolves by 2-0. No wins yet for Wolves. They're still rock bottom of the table. And the best game of the weekend, most entertaining game, was Palace 3, Bournemouth 2. Bournemouth were 2-0 up. Palace got it back to 2-2. Bournemouth made it 3-2. And then they got a late penalty, Palace. And then right at the end, Mateta missed an absolute sitter where he could have won the game for Palace, but it finished 3-3 in the end. Taking a look at the table, Arsenal sit top at the moment on 19 points. In second place, Manchester City on 16 points. Bournemouth dropped to third on 15. Liverpool now fourth on 15 points. Chelsea just a point below them on 14, and Spurs and Sunderland just behind them on 14 as well. So that is a table. At the bottom is Wolves, rock bottom, no wins yet. I think the only team they said in all 4 divisions with no wins yet this season. West Ham, who played tonight, they are got 7 points, and Nottingham Forest in that bottom 3. Hence why, Marinakis didn't waste any time and sacked the manager. Time to get into our team of the week, or team of the weekend, should we say? Do you want to lead off?
Yeah, I got a few things to say about this. Now, right. Robbie always puts value on big games. And I come in and go, I've heard about this Sunderland player that's done well. And he'll go, oh, yeah, but they're only playing Leeds. His goalkeeper is bloody Dubravka. I get Burnley against Leeds. I've got Levens in goal. Second game for Man United at Anfield. Big saves, commanding in the box. You've got to make your mind up here. It's like books, You've got to make your mind up here. Time to make your mind up.
What big saves are those?
Isak running through on goal. Brilliant save with his feet.
Collecting
all the balls, commanding his defense.
Good save. He didn't hit it straight at him. But Dubravka made save after save in that game, and he kept a clean sheet.
Come on, you got to have respect. I'm with it. I didn't watch it.
You got to have respect for the smaller sides. You know what I mean? Like you always say.
All I'm saying is you flip more than a bloody pancake. I watch a minor game and you'll go, oh, it's not a big game. I'm doing a big game.
I'm listening to what you've said, right? Taking on board what you've told me, right? So I said, right, okay. You know what I mean? I thought Dubravka, clean sheet. Let's not ignore these teams. Big win for Burnley as well. Huge win, right? All right, let's have your back 4.
All right, then. Well, I want Mucky Elliott right back because he had a good game for Sunderland against Wolves.
He did. And I was thinking about him, but I went for James. Reece James.
Team again. Here we go.
No, I thought he had a great performance in that game. Scored as well. So did Mukiele, but he scored as well. Reece James, to me, was very, very good. Back to his best in that game.
I agree with the centre-backs. I think you've got to put Harry Maguire in.
Maguire's in there. Brilliant.
Yeah. Gabriel, look, I don't get the criticism of Arsenal's defence. I think it's very, very good. Left back, I think it was a little bit tough this weekend. I thought there was a few crappy games, to be honest with you. And I think, Digne, Villa's probably quite fair.
Yeah, I went for Luca Dini. I thought he was brilliant. And that goal, as I said, I keep watching that goal. It was absolutely brilliant. And his touch to bring that down and then, lay it off, fantastic. Made that goal. And he had a good performance as well. Midfield. Shall I give you mine? Right, so Villa heavy again. I've gone Morgan Rogers, John McGinn, who I thought both of them two were really, really good in the game, and Declan Rice, who I thought was everywhere for Arsenal. I'm probably being a bit biased with the Declan Rice one, but I thought he was excellent as well.
I watched the Villa game, and I think I'm back again. I don't know. I don't know whether I'd put both Villa players in. I mean, I would like to put Cunha in, but he doesn't really play in the midfield.
Yeah, so I wanted Cunha in as well. I thought he was brilliant yesterday, but he was sort of playing as a striker.
Yeah, he was.
Even though he's dropping deep.
I don't know. I'd leave that to the chat. I think in midfield this week, I was trying to think of maybe it wasn't that week in the midfield. I can't think of your normal performances where you go, oh, he was brilliant. He was brilliant. Maybe the midfield was the low area in the Premier League this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah. And then up front,
I can't argue with that. I mean, Mateta was brilliant for Palace. I know he missed that chance. Welbeck for Brighton was brilliant. And although I didn't watch the City game, it's difficult to leave Haaland out when, I saw the goal. And I think that's what you want in a striker. It's a bit like Harry Kane at Bayern, isn't it? It's just every week he's getting goals. And if you've got a striker who's doing that, and Burmo's a little bit unlucky. To be fair, I thought he came off very early, but talking about right backs, I thought Ahmad was brilliant.
I was thinking of putting Ahmad in there. I thought he played really, really well. And I did want to get more United players in there because it's such a big performance, and I wanted Cunha in there. But Welbeck 2 goals, Haaland a couple goals, Mateta a hat trick. It's hard to ignore those 3.
Maybe you should have put the goalie in, like I said.
Well, maybe what I should have done is just shoehorn in your United players. I should have put him in goal, innit?
You normally do it with Arsenal.
No, I don't do that with Arsenal. No, I don't.
You still got 2 in.
Yeah, that's a big win. You said it earlier, big win, right?
Yeah, but there was a lot of wins for Stoke 15 years ago. I bet we wouldn't be putting them in there.
I could have had Timber in there. He was another.
I'm surprised Timber's not in there, actually.
No, but I see I put Reece James. And I was thinking Mukelele before him as well. So,
Timber is the best right back in the league, though.
But let's see what the people think. We always throw it out to you guys, right? You guys tell us what you think. What was your team of the week? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget, we're back on Friday over on That's Football, where we'll be running through our predictions. And I'll tell you what, I think I had a good week. I think I did all right.
It's a shame because I had a good week the one before, and I thought I was closing it in, but I'm going to be dropping points again here. What you got going on this week then? Is Arsenal at home in Europe? I don't really know about this Europe thing. I've burnt my passport, but
yeah. We got a game Atletico Madrid tomorrow. So Tuesday night, Atletico Madrid at the Emirates. So I'll be there looking forward to that game.
That's like Stoke against the Spanish Stoke. That is.
It'll be a good game, man. Alvarez, I'm gonna be interested to see how our defense get on against him. Very, very good player, and it should be a good game. They've been a lot better recently, Atletico. So that's gonna be a real test for Arsenal. And then, of course, next weekend at home against Palace. So some good games coming up. Of course, there's a game tonight, Mark. Let's get your prediction for that. This one also may fall into that category of what you just said of Stoke and that, right? West Ham versus Brentford.
Yeah, I think they give him bravery awards out for people who are going to watch this tonight. I'm going to give. I think Nuno's probably going to steady the ship at West Ham. It might not be what West Ham fans want, but I think he will steady the ship. So I'm going to go West Ham win.
Ooh, yeah, I'll go West Ham win. You're doing a watch along for it, and no deal done with West Ham to get the numbers up.
No, I don't think there's a brand deal out there that'd make me do that watch along, to be honest. But there we go.
Mark, listen, thank you very much, man. And we're back, as I said, on Friday on That's Football, where we, as we say, game of 2 halves, and we switch over onto his channel on the Friday. We predict the games coming up at the weekend, and it's a massive weekend, especially for Liverpool. Can they get back on track? We'll be able to find out when we do our predictions over on that show. Mark, thank you very much. And thanks to you guys. And don't forget to subscribe here to DR Sports.